Merch Minds Podcast, episode 124. Glenn, Hustler Hacks, Yong. What's up?
What's going on?
Um, nothing new. What about you?
Nothing new.
Well, what have you been dominating in lately? Etsy? Merch? KDP?
No. The last 2 weeks. Well, you know what? Here, we'll get into all that. Let's go over our numbers. Okay. I know it's depressing. You know what? Mine are depressing as well. But let's just get that done and over with. You want to go ahead and start?
Sure, why not? Last 7 days, 54 products sold. Estimated royalties $162.50.
Okay. You didn't have to say it so fast, man.
Sorry.
Me, 55 products sold, 4 returns, product purchases, $1,094.25. Estimated royalties, $231.75. I think obviously today is the last day of April. I should be able to break the $1,000 mark for the month of April. If not, that'll be the first time in a long time that I don't make over $1,000 in a month. So we'll see how that plays out at the end of the day. Merch has been it's been struggling, I think, for everyone. Even our guests, who we'll talk about here in a second. Just bad numbers overall. I know some people are still doing good, and that's a good thing. But I think overall, I think a lot of people are seeing declining numbers. But then again, it is spring, summer, when people aren't buying as much, as we all know. So we don't need to go over vacation and all that. Just want to talk about a few things before we talk to our guest today. How was your weekend? Did you watch Avengers yet?
Here's the thing. I've never watched any of the Marvel movies except for Deadpool 1 and 2. But as far as like Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers, I've never seen any of them.
You shut your damn pie hole. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I've never seen them.
Is there a reason why?
I don't know. I mean, Deadpool to me is kind of like a funny, like, character, has his own thing, but the other ones just seem kind of like boring, non-realistic to me. I just feel like I'd rather just be doing something else.
Let me ask you something. What kind of movies do you watch?
I like horror movies. Me and the wife.
Okay, I like horror movies. Yeah. Okay, I like horror flicks myself. That's it?
That's pretty much our main thing. I mean, I'm trying to think what we even saw recently.
What was the last horror movie that you saw that like actually scared you?
Man, actually scared me. That's tough too. I haven't really seen anything that was like super scary. I think the last I could say good one was the first Conjuring. Me and the wife liked that movie.
Nah,
it was a good movie. I'm not saying it was scary. I'm just saying it was like legitimately it was good. A lot of the horror movies that come out, they're very cheesy and stuff. So it's kind of hard for me to like, oh yeah, that one was awesome.
Uh-huh. But you never seen a Marvel movie
other
than Deadpool.
Other than Deadpool, I remember seeing the older Spider-Mans with
dude, you are missing out. Anyway, went to go watch Avengers Endgame on Sunday night.
It's like 3 hours long or something.
It's like just a little over 3 hours long. That's what they were saying.
Did you take snacks?
Yes.
Okay.
I had drinks. I had snacks. There's going to be no spoiler here, but all I'm going to say is, wow, what a great movie. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to have a good time, and that was a hell of a movie, man. It was awesome. It was definitely well worth the $20 that we damn paid per ticket for IMAX. Those guys, dude. So me and my coworker, it was my coworker and I. We went, and we looked up what IMAX really means,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying that IMAX, all it means is IMAX. He says the only thing that the IMAX means is that you're going to be watching it in the biggest room in that theater,
Mm-hmm.
with the audio quality of 7.1. He said that's what makes it IMAX. I'm like that's it. You just sit in a bigger room and you get. So I mean, and I'll be honest with you, like I'm not one of those guys that's gonna be like, oh, the 3 point audio quality, uh, and the
It's
7.1.
subpar.
Like I can never tell the difference. Like who cares? But if that's the only difference that separates IMAX from a regular screening, I'm just gonna go to the regular screening from now on. I didn't know that.
I think it's definitely worth. I mean, IMAX, I would think, especially for that movie, would be worth it. I mean,
But
the screen is it's almost. I mean, it feels like you're. It's closer to you, or feels like it, or maybe it's just bigger. I don't know. It does
granted,
sound louder.
we were seated on the front right corner of the theater, but
Okay.
even then, those are great seats. But yeah, great movie. I highly recommend it. In fact, I want to go back and watch it again. And there's only a handful of movies that I've watched multiple of times, and this is definitely going to be one of them.
Oh, I
Um,
remember what was the last movie I saw in theater.
what was it?
It was Us.
Who?
Us. That was the last movie I saw.
What the hell is Us?
It's Jordan Peele does kind of supposed to be like a funny, scary type of thing.
Oh, that's the one that came out like 3 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been about a good month and a half.
Okay, I think I
Yeah,
know what you're talking about.
yeah, that
Okay,
was the last one I saw.
yeah, yeah, I think I know. Speaking of movies, with all the craziness that's going on in this world, there's one sad news that hasn't been really talked about. John Singleton, I don't know if you know who that is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Director, very young guy, man, 51 years old. Just recently passed away. I think it was a couple of days ago. If you guys don't know who he is, man, he was supposed to be the next Spike Lee as far as black directors. He filmed Boys in the Hood, um, Poetic Justice. I mean, those are just classics. And uh, when he first came onto the scene, there was only really one black director that was in the mainstream, and which was obviously Spike Lee, and he was supposed to be like the second coming of the Spike Lee. And he hasn't done a lot of work lately, but he's done some really good work. I think he even filmed one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Mm.
Um, but sad news. Someone that I really respect. I really enjoyed his movies. Again, it wasn't being talked about as much in the media. So rest in peace, John Singleton. Um, let's see, KDP. My gosh, today has been on fire.
Oh,
Um, I-
really?
yeah,
Nice.
it's surprising because um, considering the amount of sales that I get on a daily basis, I mean, I think I might average about one or two a day, if
Okay.
that. Today, I'm already at what, 9.
Okay. There we go.
So
Five times.
and these are journals that I haven't even sold before. So that's good news. There is hope for my journals. Um, I'll be honest with you. As far as my journals, man, I haven't. Again, I have around 800 uploaded, but since then, it's been about a month now. I haven't uploaded anything,
Mm.
only because I've been working on some other projects, which I'll talk about here in a second. Um, so obviously, this is the Merch Minds podcast, and we're going to continue to give you guys news and a great podcast on print on demand. But I'm not going to lie, lately, all my effort has been on doing a lot of freelance work
Mhm.
outside of print on demand. And I know you and I talk quite a bit behind the scenes. Um, and last couple of weeks, I was able to get 3 clients to do their web sites for for a decent amount of money. One of them being a startup company. Um, so that's where a lot of my time has been um, focused at, was just working on stuff like that, because again, merch has been dead, so I need to focus on something else that's going to bring in the money when merch is down and out.
Yeah.
So I've been working on those projects, on those freelance work.
Yeah.
Um, what's going on with you?
My
How's
focus
eBay? How's everything else?
my focus has been kind of like on YouTube and FBA. So YouTube has been good. I'm trying to get to like 3,000 ish a month for YouTube, which would be like three times the amount I'm making on merch. And then FBA, I did go over my 10,000 goal. I'm at like 12,000 something right now for the
That's in
month.
sales, though, right?
Yeah, in sales. So I think my next goal, try to get to like 15,000 in sales
Hmm.
for May, and then just keep trying to scale up. So
Hmm.
that's where I'm at, kind of like the main two. I mean, eBay and all the sneaker stuff I'm still doing, but those are really like kind of carrying the numbers forward, and I see some more growth potential in both. So
Hmm. So we talked about, I know, was it last week? We had talked about maybe getting back on the schedule, even if it's once a week.
I know,
Is,
definitely.
is that something that you're still willing to do, or
Yeah,
what's the
I
deal
need to
here?
get on that. I just came back from out of town,
Where'd
and
you go?
so I actually went to Dallas for sourcing, and then I was out for at least like 4 or 5 days. I actually just came back, what, 2 days ago? Yeah, like 2 days ago. And that was just purely sourcing for FBA and eBay stuff. I took my like Dymo printer and my labels and everything. So I actually like sourced, and I was able to ship out like 150 units while I was there. And then
Did
I
you
came
drive or fly?
back. I flew. And then I came back with like my bags full of other stuff to send out. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, definitely need to figure out like something per day per week, even if it's, I mean, it has to be something. Can't just leave it alone.
No, I agree. Like I said, my time and effort's been on developing websites for my clients, um, um, and even with that and everything else that I'm trying to do, I am so overwhelmed right now. In fact, I told myself the other day, even if I get another client who's willing to pay really good money for a website, I'm gonna have to say no, because I'm just doing way too much. I mean, you have to consider I got my day job. I've taken on 3 clients now. I'm trying to do merch. I'm trying to do Etsy. I'm
Trying
trying
to
to
do
do
the damn
KDP.
podcast.
I'm trying to do the podcast, and it's just gotten out of control. So I think even if another person, I mean, unless they say we'll pay you $20,000, then I obviously change my mind. But yeah, I think the next client, I'm just gonna have to refuse, because this is just too overwhelming. Um, Before we get into today's guest, and we have a really fun interview for you guys today, just something that I want to talk to you about, Glenn. I know we talked about it on the show in the past, but we when I was down in Orange County a couple of weeks ago, this is something that we talked about with Anthony and Matt and RJ, and um, they were kind of and like I said, we talked about this, right? They were giving me a hard time because I don't follow or listen to like Gary Vee or Grant Cardone or Tim Robbins and all that, right?
Yeah,
And so there it was primarily Anthony, right? You know how Anthony is, right? He's
yeah,
that loud, very vocal guy. Why don't you follow these guys, right? No, it's like
yeah.
um and it's just I'm just, and it's not that I don't like them, right? It's just, but and I've said this what 100 times now. There's nothing that they can tell me that I don't know already, right? Like look, I've been working since I was 12 years old, okay? And I don't know why some people find this funny, and I don't know why, but I had no other choice. I
Yeah,
had no other choice but to work. If I didn't work, this is the God honest truth. If I didn't work, my dad would beat the shit out of me.
yeah,
That's just how that's just how it was, man. You guys have to understand that I was raised. Number one, my dad. was, he's from a different culture, obviously, right? He's from
Mhm.
Korea. The guy served in the Korean War. He was a prisoner of war. Okay, a lot of you guys don't know that. So he's a tough ass, right?
Yeah.
He's a badass, right? So in the family, that was my only choice. It was, you have to work or I'm gonna beat your ass. And I'm not trying to say that I was abused or that my dad's a bad man. He's a bad father. No, again, that's just how it was. Okay, a different generation. That's how a lot of kids were raised, right? In fact, my friends and I, we laugh about it all the time. We're like, man, the way we were raised, and we see the how kids are raised today,
Mhm.
is completely different. Like, you lay a hand on your child today, the cops are going to come knock on your door, right?
Yeah.
That's just. But again, so basically, what I'm trying to say is, I had to work since I was 12. Okay, that's all I know how to do. What is Grant Card? What's his name? Grant Cardone. What are they going to tell me? Right? What are they going to tell me that I don't know? And another reason why I don't really follow them is because, and this is, I don't know what the other guys say, but I do know that Gary Vee tells people this. He tells people, don't go to college. And my thing is, why? Why do you tell? Here's the thing. He's in a position where he's a leader. He has a lot of, he's an influencer. He has a lot of millennials. He has a lot of kids that follow him, right?
Mhm.
Why does he tell people don't go to college? There are kids in different countries. Their only dream is to go to school and they can't because they don't have that opportunity. And he's over here saying, don't go to college. Just work and you'll be better off. Why don't you let them make that decision?
Well, I think that's pretty much what he kind of goes for, is for you to do whatever you want to do as long as you enjoy it. I've never heard him just say
I
straight up,
look.
"Don't go to
I remember
college,"
watching
but
a video where he was saying, "Don't go to college." He was saying something like, "You should only go to college if you want to be like a doctor or something,"
yeah, yeah,
right? But I'm like, let the kid make that decision, right? Let the kid make the decision. Because here's the thing, man. Like, again, I didn't have that opportunity. I had to go back, right? I had to go back later in my life. Let that kid experience college. Let him make that decision. Because I'll be honest with you, man. As old as I was, when I went back to school, those were some of the best times I've ever had. I made some lifelong friends. Obviously, on the show, we talk a lot about networking. Some of my best networking came through college, man. I still get jobs from some of my classmates that I went to school with, right?
yeah. And I mean, obviously, with the Gary Vee thing, I mean, paying for the Gary Vee thing, meeting him, and seeing the full
That's
thing of
right. I
his,
forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, offices, seeing how they, run their business, all of that. Man, so much has changed from during that time to how it is now, especially like his content. Like, I can't
Mhm.
stand him anymore.
Oh,
Like,
really?
it's so overdone that just like I can't. It's like every second there's like a new clip and or video of the same thing over and over and over again. And during the time when I went and go into these offices and everything, had like a really cool vlog style that was like done and cut up by D Rock as like one of his what do you call him? Not really like a work study, but he used to like do like a pretty cool vlog style with music and everything. And it's kind of like a journey of like where he was going next and doing these things. And then it turned into, hey, I'm just at my office, and he just talking and rambling forever. And then it started getting into like a weird thing where he was like interviewing rappers and stuff. And I just
Hmm.
was not interested at all. And
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, this is totally not where I thought maybe it was kind of going. And then now I just don't even follow him. I just unfollowed him completely.
Right. And again, it's like I said, it's not that I don't like him. Look, I think overall his message is good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather listen to him than watch some of these freaking stupid prank videos that's on YouTube all the time, where they're kicking each other in the nuts and all this stupid crap. I'd rather watch Gary Vee than watch that. It's just like I said, I can't relate to him. Like, I don't like some of the stuff that he says. That's the only reason I don't like the. It's not that I don't like the guy. I hate some of the stuff that he says. You know who I rather follow? I'd rather follow uh and I'm drawing a blank on his name. Who's that dude on Shark Tank?
Mark Cuban.
Gosh, Mark Cuban.
Oh, okay.
He's someone that I can follow because I can
Yeah.
relate to him, right? I don't relate to Gary Vee,
Yeah.
right?
Well, Gary Vee has a lot of contradictions too. And I know one of them recently that I thought was like insanely dumb when he was talking about not like not investing money into like buying your own home, and he was talking about how dumb that is, but yet part of
Mm,
like the real estate association has paid him so much money for him to speak at these events, and now he's like contradicting, going backwards, saying like don't invest to buy your own house, instead pay rent
right.
forever. And then people are just like, this is stupid, like what are you talking about, when you're talking about also how important housing was. And then he just kind of like, he's just all over the place at this point.
Hmm. But yeah, so and I just thought that would be a fun little quick topic that we can talk about again because we got into this whole conversation, and again, you know how Anthony is, right? He gets all loud, and what was funny was when we were having this conversation, there was a couple sitting behind us, and they were looking at us because they thought like we were going to get into a fight. But you know how Anthony is, right? When he talks, he speaks with a lot of emotion. He's loud, and then I get loud, and then they just. So watching this couple sit there talking about Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. It was really funny. They just got up and left. I don't think Anthony even noticed because he was just so into the conversation. But yeah, they were giving me a hard time about why don't you follow these guys, and I'm just like, I just can't relate to him, man. And so I just thought that'd be a fun topic. But let's get into today's guest. We have one of my good friends, um, Tyler Dooley. You know what's funny? I told RJ, okay, serious, no joke. I told RJ last night. I'm like, hey, Tyler's gonna be on the show. He goes, Tyler who?
What
Oh,
an
what the hell? I'm like, Tyler Dooley, man. He goes, oh. Anyway, our good friend Tyler Dooley's on the show. He does merch by Amazon and he does Etsy, and he does it while he's attending school. Speaking of school, the guy's going to college and raising a 6-year-old daughter. So let's talk to Tyler. All right, guys, we have a fun show for you today. My good friend, Mr. Tyler Dooley, is on the show, aka John Cena. Yo,
Oh, you're making
yo,
me blush.
come on,
I
man.
always do this.
Hey, what's going on? So I actually had the privilege to meet Tyler. Uh, was it last month now?
Month or two. It's all
About a
flown
month and
by.
a half ago,
It's
man, it
so
seems
busy.
like it was forever.
It
About
does.
about a month and a half ago, we were at the Mastermind in Orange County and met him for the first time there. And what's crazy is you and I hit it off like right off. It was
Dude,
like we've been friends forever. It was nuts. But Tyler is on Merch by Amazon. He's been on Merch by Amazon. And I know you and I we sort of chat on a regular basis, and you were telling me about your SC journey as well. Welcome to the show, man.
thank you.
Um, First of all, do you care to disclose your merch numbers? I know some guests, they don't like talking about it. You don't have
Oh,
to if
that's
you don't want
fine.
to.
That's fine. They're low right now. They're embarrassingly low, but
Everyone's low.
yeah, I've had my updates too. Can't win them all. Yeah, I'll talk about it. It's fine. We
Sure.
want last
Well,
seven.
last 7 days.
Oh man, they're right now. Last seven's low. 74 for 188.
Mm, yeah. You know what? I think we're in the same boat, man.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat as you. But so what are you doing as far as trying to bring your numbers up during this slump? I mean, I know this is a time of the year when people aren't buying as much, but are you doing anything in particular as far as your strategy?
Well, I definitely changed it up. My philosophy, especially after talking to Matt and Aaron a lot about this when we were at the mastermind. I used to design for merch, and then we'll have things designed for merch, and then put them on Etsy. Now I kind of flip that. I'm putting more into Etsy, and then just throwing it on merch as like a byproduct. So my research has completely changed. I used to, kind of scour merch and go from there, look at BSRs and go do that whole game. But now I have a whole system set up, and I still get sales on like the kind of byproduct that theory or that way of doing things. Um, but the Etsy buildup is there, and that I'm content with that. That growth is there, and then I kind of just use merch as like, you get like you're my general store now, so to speak.
Right, right. And I think that's the case for, so again, for the people that didn't attend the mastermind, well, a lot of people didn't attend because it was a private event, but the consensus that I got, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like a lot of the members, I don't know if I should call them leaders. I guess they're leaders of the community. They're
Yeah, that's
really,
fair.
really leaning towards Etsy these days because even during this the dry spell, if that's what you want to call it, they still seem to have growth on Etsy for some reason. Even this time of the year is it's nuts.
It honestly, it feels better. The whole process feels better. You can have the customer interaction. I feel like you can make sales strictly off that. They come to you, hey, can you do this instead? With merch, you
Mhm.
don't have that. There's no customer contact, which is kind of a blessing and a curse. Some people don't want to deal with customers, but if you're willing to outsource that or even do it yourself, I feel like that's a good way to go. And then you have a lot more control over the content there. Like, there's a little bit more leeway on Etsy that I've seen. And you can kind of like brand yourself. I know Matt and Aaron are really big onto that
They're,
nowadays.
they're,
And
they're they're really big on branding these days. Yeah.
it pays off. It really does. Whereas a merchant is kind of like this faceless, like, go, here's my stuff. If you buy it, you buy it. If you don't, you don't. Whereas Etsy, you can have multiple shops. And that's kind of what RJ, got me into is, that mindset. Because before I had 1, 2, and then a general store. And he's like, bro, I'm going for like 6, 7, 8. And I'm like, wow, I never even thought of that. You get so, you know, um, caught in what you're doing. You don't even think like, hey, I could do this, 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 this. So since the mastermind, that's what I've really been into is finding niches on Etsy that do well for me that were based off my merch designs. So took all my basically I started Etsy with just a general like niche store. Well, not general, just a specific niche store. And I was like, let me just see what this is about. And this is early Q4 or pre Q4 2017. And I was like, let me just see because they talked about it and it was in the merch community. Everybody was talking about it. I was like, let me just give it a shot. So I started one. It was a vegan store. And I'm like, let's see how this goes because I just happened to have my designer crank out quite a few vegan designs. I had them just sitting there fresh. I'm like, let me just see. And they did really well. And then I was like, wait, I can put these on tank tops too. I can put these on crop tops. And then those started doing really well. I'm like, this is crazy. Like I'm onto something here. This is a thing. So then I was like, okay, let's do a general store. So I just took everything on merch that my designers did. And I just hired a new guy to upload specifically for Etsy. And I had a general store. And I'm like, wow, this is taking off too. I'm getting reviews and like this whole new process that's like, I'm in control of it more. So it kind of like drew me in. And then what I did is I noticed a few niches within my general store were doing really well. For example, birthdays, women's and like little girls' birthday shirts were like popping off on Etsy. And that's where I was like my bread and butter for that general store. I'm like, huh. So I took those and put them on a brand new Etsy store. And now I have this more niche down Etsy store, which is like just specifically women's and little girls' birthdays. And that does really well. So you just kind of like use the general store to feel out the market, see what your designs like, what like speaks to the customer, what they're willing to buy. And then you're like, okay, there's a demand for this. I'm going to take this and make a niche out of it and then brand that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really worked so far. And now I pretty much have I have a designer for this Etsy store. I have a designer and I kind of like I have a girl, she does really good stuff when it comes to like pastels and, girly fonts. She kills it. So she's like, for this store, that's all she does is that store stuff. And
Good
then
stuff,
so that's kind of my process. I'm feeling it out and it's all a learning game. At first when merch started to kind of slump down, this quote by Gary Vee always sticks out in my mind is like, people get too romantic about like what got them there. And I try to stay away from that because at first, like you get so caught up in merch and this is all new to you and the e-commerce thing. And you're like, oh, I just got to go harder in the merch. Where like, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself in the merch. You can branch out into Etsy and Create Space and KDP and then find what works best for you. And then go from there. Like you don't have to stop merch, but like, don't get so like romantic about it. Like this is the only thing I can do because that's not the case. It's 2019 and there's so many ways to do it.
Yeah, there's so much for the platforms. Glenn, did you have any questions for Mr. John Cena?
How many I guess Etsy stores do you have right now?
Right now I'm at 3 4 in a general, so 5 total.
And you have like a little mix of like mugs and other stuff, or you're really just focusing on apparel pretty much?
So that was another thing at the meetup. I was talking to RJ. We were having a beer, and he was like, "Bro, mugs." And I'm like, "I didn't even think about mugs." And then I put my stuff on a mug just to see how it looks. It looks phenomenal. I sent it out to friends. I'm like, "Would you buy this?" Because a lot of my friends, they know what I do, and I'm like, "Would you buy this?" And they're like, "Absolutely." So I'm gonna start like I think I'm gonna do the same thing I did with shirts with mugs, where I start a general mug store and then kind of see what resonates and what sells, and then go from there. But as of right now, it's only shirts, tanks, and some crop tops for like the women's stuff on
Okay.
my Etsy stores.
Yeah, you know what? I find so. First of all, I haven't really talked about my Etsy shop in a while. Is because I currently have my Etsy store on pause because I'm figuring out the logistics with Nimble. Remember, Glenn, I had mentioned that I'm trying to get those guys to fulfill my orders.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to figure out the logistics. So my shop's been on pause for the last few weeks. But yeah, no, John. I think because I've tried everything right on Etsy, but I find that T-shirts, tank tops, and crop tops are by far the best sellers. Right?
That's my experience too.
Yeah, mugs will sell, every now and then. Hoodies will sell every now and then, but uh, on a consistent basis, it's always T-shirts, tank tops, and crop tops are like those are my bread and butter. Oh
They,
my gosh,
I was
women
surprised.
love that.
I just threw it up just to see. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, and it was like one of my vegan designs, and they were like hotcakes. I'm like,
Oh
I didn't
yeah,
realize this many
women love
people
that
wore.
stuff.
I live in Florida. I don't see that many crop tops running around. But hey,
Hey, hey,
maybe it's a Cali
it's
thing.
cold. Yeah,
I
maybe
don't
it
care
is.
where they buy them. They can buy them in Alaska, and I'll sell them. I don't care.
So that's cool. So you have 5 stores. Um, you have any plans to open up more, or is this enough to kind of keep you busy for now?
I feel like I have a lot on my plate now, but I'm torn. I don't want to like spread myself too thin, but I kind of set a goal after the meetup. I was like, I want 6 by the end of the year, like 6 full blown, like not just a couple listings, like 6 full blown. And it is a lot because you're now in charge of the research for those. You're in charge of setting up, communicating with your designers, making sure they're good. What they give you back after what you requested is kind of like cohesive with what you're already doing. And after you get one started, like that girl, for example, she kind of like knows the vibe, so she goes with that. But I feel like there's a lot on my plate right now, so I don't want to spread myself too thin until I get these full blown going. Because I'd say out of the 5, 3 are like consistent, selling every day, and they're like the breadwinners. But the other 2 are definitely like need some TLC, and that's what I was working on, throughout this week or previous week. So it's a process, man. Once you tackle Etsy, like if you start to spread yourself out like that, uh, there's the work to be done. It's not merch like where you set it and forget it.
Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of your time and efforts is on Etsy these days. Are you have you been uploading onto merch at
I
all?
have. So I got the beta
Okay.
uploader and the new products, and I'm glad you brought that up. That was a very good point. I got it, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do with this? Like I haven't really been uploading no merch, and I'll do like at most 50 a day before. And then I got the beta uploader. So, and I've been meaning to upload old stuff that fell off. Everything from like Q4 2017 all the way through 2018, like just stuff that fell off, and it's stuff you've done the research on, you've already paid for it. And it's just
Right.
sitting there in a folder, and I'm like, I'll get to it. And this was like the perfect time. So I think it was like a week or 2 when I got it. I went through and I'm a night owl. I'm up all night. So I would sit there all night, like listen to music, and I would just upload these old designs on everything, and it was so easy because it's laid out right there for you. I haven't been doing was it Germany, because it says on there like we highly recommend that you do this in their language. For mixed things about it, I was like, I'm just not gonna upload in Germany. I'll do the UK, and I'll just, because I don't want to translate and all that stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna leave it.
So here's a question for actually both of you. Okay, because I remember seeing that message too, and I've gone ahead and I still uploaded a handful without even translating it onto Germany.
Mhm.
You guys think that's bad?
I don't think you'll get in trouble for it. I don't. I feel like I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna want to fix it later because
What do you think, Lynn? You think Amazon's gonna come knocking on my door and like arrest me?
I wish, but nah, they're not going to.
The hell you mean you wish?
I was gonna say something similar, like hopefully.
Yeah, no
One less
love,
problem.
no love. Now, are you have you ever talked to Human behind the scenes?
Don't think so. No,
Okay, have you heard that name before? I'm sure you
I've heard
have.
the name. Hmm.
Okay, so he's kind of like you in the sense, you know, he does a little merch, but his lot of his efforts is on Etsy, um, and he's doing really good. Like he's doing consistently $10,000 a month on Etsy, um, and I had lunch with him not too long ago, just a few weeks ago. So what he said was, he said his process is, and I apologize to Human if I'm not supposed to say this. I mean, he never said anything, but basically, he said his process is basically he outsources everything on Etsy, from the design to the uploading, everything. But customer service is something that he needs to do. What's your process like? Are you pretty much hands off? I don't want to do anything on Etsy. All my VAs are going to take care of everything, or are you? Or there are some things that you just need to do.
I'm almost the same way. I do the research, but I don't do design. I don't touch the designs. I don't touch the mock-ups. I don't touch the uploading. That's all. I have people for that, and they do that. Like pretty much have a good system down. But customer service, like I have my phone in my hand like 99% of the day. So like, I'm right there. I feel like I have a good knack for it, so I do that myself. I speak to people on a right. My phone's like always going off, and it's kind of annoying sometimes, but because the questions you get, but it's part of the game. So, and I feel like going back to like the very beginning is like you have more control over Etsy, and that's one of those kind of things, and that makes a difference. Like I feel like I've made sales just off of like how I interact with people and answering their questions, and then like just being polite. It's not super hard. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I every now and then in the Facebook groups, I hear people say things like, "I don't want to do Etsy because I don't want to provide customer service." But it's like you said, it's not hard. I mean, it's like freaking, it's like text messaging,
Yeah, and
really.
that's fine. Those people can have that philosophy and just leave more money for me. Like I will take the customer's money and then put up the nice face and like, hi, oh yeah, this comes in this size, or we can customizations a lot. They're like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you like, yeah, it's gonna be a small upcharge if it's something besides a different color. But yeah, I
Uh,
can do it. And 90% of the time they're like, that's fine. Charge me 10 extra bucks or whatever it is.
right.
And I'm on like Skype with a few of my designers at all times. I'm like, hey, can somebody do this for me and send it back? And then boom.
Yeah, I remember there was this one particular design that I had, and the lady messaged me and said, I only noticed it on one shirt. Can you add that onto this other shirt? And I ordered like 12 of them. I'm like, "Pfft, don't ask
Yeah,
again." I did it.
yeah,
I made a new listing on that particular shirt, and sure enough, I messaged her back, said, "Hey, this is where it's posted." Within minutes, she bought all 12. No
yeah.
returns, nothing. Happy customer.
That's all. I don't know your margins or what you have your stuff set up, but that's almost theoretically like 120 bucks for like
Yeah.
10 minutes of your time.
Hmm.
Stuff like that. I've had very similar experiences where like, hey, can you just add this or tweak this? I'm like, or add it on a different color, and then they buy a lot of my stuff. Like I said, it's birthday stuff, so I get batch orders daily. I'll get like 10, and they might have like a specific request, like, oh, we're going with this color. Do you have this color available? And like I'll go upload on that color, and then boom, they have an order of 10, and it took me nothing. On Amazon, you don't have that. You don't have that interaction. You can't.
Yeah.
There's that wall. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn, you
And
got it.
what are your margins more or less look like? I guess on your shirts or tanks or
shirts are because like I noticed like they started doing the tax thing or they changed something with it. So some states where they buy it at, there'll be tax involved. No tax, it's close to $10 a shirt. With tax, depending on the state, because it's all different. I think the lowest I'm gonna make on a shirt is probably like $6.50, $7.
oh,
So
that's good.
yeah, it's better than merch.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. You probably
So
do probably like double just to get to the like 7 8
exactly,
bucks. Yeah.
yeah. So if I only sell 10 a day, like I'm still coming out ahead on merch most of the days, especially now when it's like Young said, the slow season, which
Mhm.
I'm just using this to build. I think Ken Reel posted this other day, like something about like what are you doing to prepare for Q4 now? And I was like, bet, let's go, because like it flies by, man. Like looking back at last year, it flew by. It was like St. Patty's Day, then Cinco, Mother's Day, whatever, and then boom, Q4. It just felt like it just right there. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, tomorrow's gonna be May already. No, I mean, this year has flown by, man. I can't.
and then
I mean,
I
May,
don't
and
want to
then pretty
do
soon
Q4 and
it's
then feel underprepared because you're leaving money on the table. Like once it's here, it's here. It's like winter is coming. Like, it's here. Like what you did like this whole year is what you prepared for this what 3-4 month window, if
mhm.
that. And like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I make in October, November, December, I can make the same as the rest of the year combined, if not more, in those 3 months. So it's a big deal. It kind of comes down to that one, blip of the year, and then you can make or break your whole year.
Yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
definitely trying to grind now, get these stores up and running. I haven't neglected merch, like I said. It's not my main focus, and I kind of changed the way I do business. I'm branching
Yeah,
out more because
yeah,
it's not what it used to be. I used to like even when I was new and I barely had any listings up. Now I have a lot more listings up and I make less money. It's because the margins have went down and the competition. I don't know what the deal is, but I just make less sales. So I don't know. I'm not gonna dig into all that and why it is that way. But it is what it is at this point. I'm just trying to find a new way to do it.
yeah, absolutely. Have you messed with And I think I've asked you this when we were in Orange County, and I don't remember what your answer was, but are you messing with KDP at all at the moment?
No, I when it first got brought up, I got kind of like I think I did a one book just to test the process to kind of
Mhm.
like feel it out. Like, oh, let me see how this goes. And then my Etsy started kind of like popping off, so it kind of brought my attention that way. I do want to get into it because I talked to like you and RJ a lot about it. Like, how's it doing? How's it doing? And it seemed, like you said, it's $100 I didn't have. Like, it's if I could just outsource that, have a guy start uploading my stuff for me. I understand is there a limit to daily uploads on Etsy or on
You
KDP?
can upload as much as you want at the moment.
Was there ever? I thought I heard there
Nuh-uh.
was a limit before or something.
I don't think there was ever a limit. Your product is never taken down, right? Because they're assigned a unique ISBN number,
Hmm.
right? So there's no 60, 90-day takedown. It's up there forever. So yeah. So for now, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, Amazon's known to always throw in some kind of crazy restrictions as soon as something becomes too saturated. So who knows? Maybe a few months from now, they might start restricting a few things here and there. But at the moment, it's just upload as much as you can.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
that's one thing I need to like take, an afternoon, evening, whatever, and sit down and then do it myself. 'Cause I like to sit down, do it myself, and then I'll make like I'll screen capture it, and then I'll send it to one of my guys, and then one of my Etsy uploader, he has free time, so he's always like, hey, you got anything else? Like because he does my mock-ups, he does uploads and mock-ups for all my Etsy stores. So he's
Hmm.
always like, give me more. So I told him I was like, I'm gonna have a big project for you soon. That big project was KDP, but and I got put on the back burner. But I mean, I have these designs already made, so why not?
Yeah.
Do you have things specifically made for books, or are you just doing
Nah, man.
T-shirts?
All the designs that I've uploaded so far are all T-shirts designs. The only thing is you can't have a design with no text, right? Like
Mhm.
you can't have like just a unicorn and just upload.
Gotcha.
Like it has to say something, right? Like unicorn journal,
Yep.
right? So it has to say something. And I learned that the hard way. Um, even though I think Kelly even told us, Glenn, I still, me, man, I can't remember what I did last week. I think she told us, and I still did it anyway. I try to upload it, and you get a friendly message back. Here's a cool thing about KDP: when they reject you, it doesn't seem as bad as merch, right? Like when you get rejected on merch, you're like, oh shit, they're gonna ban
Yeah.
me, right? KDP, man, you get this friendly message. Sorry, and they tell you, this
They're
is why.
apologizing to you.
Right,
Yeah.
this is why it was rejected. Please try again. It doesn't feel as bad, right?
Like
So
your
I'm like,
grandma when you knock something over at her house, like, oh, it's okay, baby, it's okay.
right?
Be more
Uh,
careful. Or just like your dad coming home. It's like, Where you at?
All hell breaks loose.
Bell. He's like,
Right? But yeah, it doesn't seem that bad when you get rejected on KDP. So they're all my T-shirt designs. And Today's been a pretty decent day compared to what I normally sell every day. Today's been really, really good for whatever reason. Hopefully that's a sign of good things to come on KDP. But yeah, man, you should definitely. I mean, you have those designs. You might as well just put them to work.
yeah, and then what's the worst that can happen? Like I have to pay my VA a couple bucks or whatever, however much it is to upload all that. Like that's a risk I'm willing to take because
Right.
I had to
Dude,
start all this somewhere.
whatever happened to Brother Hacks, dude? You should have him on KDP.
He got a full-time job, so I don't know what he's up to.
He's one of those. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's working. He's working, so I don't know what he's up to exactly.
And speaking of that, John is doing this
John.
100. I said John. Tyler, aka John, is also doing this full time, right?
Now, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing. And you're also going to school, which is very commendable. And I know you have a beautiful daughter. How old is she?
6.
6, man.
Children around.
She's a handful, I bet, huh?
She's like her mama. It's crazy. Got 2 of them. No, she's fun though. She keeps me going because I'm like I like to be sluggish after doing merch all day. She's like, Dad, let's go play. And I'm like, oh, I gotta do these uploads. Just kidding. Let's go play.
He's also going to the gym. We can see.
Yeah, man. Some little gym rat. It just keeps me. That's my therapy. Everybody has their thing. That's mine. Just like,
hey, Glenn. The first time I met him, he came out of RJ's car, and I was like, "Yo, is that John Cena?" And I was like, "Yo, man, I'm like, you're buff."
Yo, remember that? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, no, you and I hit it off right away, man. It was like we were friends for a long time, and I'm glad we had the opportunity to meet and hang out as much as we did. I think I hung out with you more than I hung out with RJ, which is a good thing.
Yeah, RJ's a bad influence.
He is.
You forgot he was just there. You just saw muscles. You're like,
I was attracted to it.
Oh my god! No, we went to this seafood place. RJ wanted seafood, and we get there, and we agree to get this big platter type thing, and we're all drinking these spicy ghost pepper Himalayan margaritas and just having a good time. And then Yong over here, he can eat. So I was like going to reach for this crab leg, and he was like, slap me. I'm like, bro, stop hitting me in public. And then it was embarrassing. I thought he like sunned me. He was like, my crab leg, and I was like, I'm sorry.
We were fighting for it, man.
That food was really good.
Was good stuff.
I do have a story about like e-com type related stuff that I wanted to share with somebody, and I figured out why not you two. So I was talking to Matt, just kind of getting his advice because I wasn't sure on like copyright type stuff when it came to popular things like Game of Thrones, for example. I was like, how does this work? Like, can I do, I'm walking the line on this. I thought about doing an Etsy store just for like, not, I guess, parody type stuff for that. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, and basically like the conclusion I came to is like the juice probably isn't worth the squeeze. But
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So Sunday rolls around and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something on Etsy. I'm not going to put on merch and then just see how it goes. So I made this shirt. And basically, I'm like, after the episode finished, I'm like on my phone on Skype with my designer. I'm like, yo, I want this. And he sends me back like a few like different variations. I'm like, that one. So then I show my friends and like, yo, we're going to buy that. And basically, it was just like the Game of Thrones font. And it said, not today. Did you guys watch Game of Thrones?
No, but I saw everyone was hyped up. So I saw that. I knew someone was going to do something on
and I was like, it's not merch, but I'll do it. And then I had like him, like he like somehow vectorized her dagger. I sent him a picture of the dagger and he like made a vector. I don't know how, like, I don't know Photoshop like that. He did it. And I was like, perfect. So I put it up on my Etsy store and that thing sold probably 100. And like that night until like Monday morning or Monday evening, like my phone was just bling, 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 bling. And it was just selling. So then I'm going to see the Avengers. I'm driving there. And one of my like friends that was right there next to me when I'm like getting this made up sends me a Facebook screenshot. And one of like the Game of Thrones fan pages had it, like they like photoshopped it on Arya Stark, the actress, and then like my same exact pixel for pixel design, and this thing had like 300,000 likes, 10K shares, like 60,000 comments, and I'm just like, I'm like, my heart's like, I'm like, they took my stuff. So basically, I followed the link and I sent like the DMCA thing, and I was like, yo, that's like straight pixel for pixel. I kind of felt dirty. I'm like, HBO's gonna come after me though. I was like, I don't know how this works because all I did is say not today and like the dagger. I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's parody is a really I was always so when I was going through my whole program for graphic design, I was told by my instructor that parody is okay as long as you don't come across as being the actual company. Right? For instance, like you can do a parody of Pepsi as long as you can um, make it so that people know that it's not technically from Pepsi, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So, but again, I'm not quite the expert when it comes to stuff like that. I would say this. I would say this. If you're gonna do parody, something like that, I think the best thing to do is to have it on your own platform, because even though Etsy is, we have a little more leeway than merch, it still isn't our platform.
true.
I would say so. So I would say if you're gonna do something like that, you should do it on your own platform on a Shopify store, and have an independent um, supplier fulfill it, right?
True.
Because you just want to protect yourself and not get into any kind of problems. So
And it was like I felt like by doing it I was taking a risk, but I felt like I was like, let's just see. This is my first time ever doing anything like this, and I feel like it's not a direct quote like per se. Like that wasn't the exact part. It was like a section of a quote, I guess. And I mean that could be like, oh, you took song lyrics and put a section of the song lyric. I'm like, okay, you got me there. But we'll see. I don't know. I haven't heard anything
yeah,
back
I mean
yet.
even the Game of Thrones font, which I can kind of picture what it looks like, but I can almost pretty much guarantee you right now, even not even having looked at it right now, you probably can't even use it for commercial use.
Really,
Yeah, I can almost
there's a
probably.
lot of those on merch too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going
You
through them
see,
right now and
right, you
seeing how
see a
many
lot
are
of
out
the
there.
Godfather fonts. You see a lot of the Star Wars fonts.
Oh yeah, there's one Star Wars like Dotson shirt. I'm like, how is this up? And it's been up for a long time. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I do not know. It's like come to the dot side or something like that. And it's like two Dotsons dressed up like a stormtrooper and Darth Vader. I'm like, how are they doing? Like, is this one of those like collab things or something? I don't know. But,
No, I don't think it would be a collab, because I think the font just itself isn't. I know it's available because I've downloaded the font for just personal use. Um, so based on that, if I recall, just the font alone, I know you can't use for commercial purposes. Um, but yeah, I would just say, if you're gonna do parody, just know what you're getting into. Make sure everything's legit. Do your research and stuff like that. But good having you, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Um, Dude, you look like a real wrestler right now, because you got those headphones. It looks like the headgear that the wrestlers wear. Doesn't he? Come on.
before we go, are you guys going to any like future meetups, or is that like in the cards for you guys, or what's?
I am going to I'm going to the one in Chicago again. That's a private mastermind. Uh,
I was gonna
uh,
avoid that. I'm just asking so I can avoid them. That's all.
uh, um,
Young is getting all hyped up.
Yeah,
so
I'm going.
that'll be later this year. So I'll be going to that one. I know Ken he's been really pushing the licensing expo in Vegas next month. No, not next month, but June.
Gotcha.
I went last year to the expo, and it just wasn't my thing, man. It wasn't my thing, so I don't think I'll be going to that one. I think the next one I'm going to be going to is the one in Chicago later
Gotcha.
this year. So, but I would love to come out to Florida one of these days and come visit you. Hey, I'm serious, man. Look, I want you to write me up a workout regimen. And I'm serious, right? Because I know you work out all the time. Because I got to get back in shape, man.
I got one already. I can send you right now. Just after this,
S-
message me your email.
Send it to me. Send it to me afterwards. So so when we were in Orange County, I was like, "Yo, man, you got to get me back on track. Let me know. Put me back on the regimen." And he said he'll do it. So good stuff, man. Hey, thanks for coming on the show. Um, and I know this is your guys' first time talking, so uh, I told Glenn that you're a cool guy, man.
He lied. No, I mean, thanks for having me. I watch you guys stuff all the time. Like, I sent you that screenshot the other day when I was like, I'm at the gym on the Stairmaster. I'm like sweating and crying listening to you. I think, I think it was just you two talking at the time. It was like the beginning part.
Mhm.
So I mean, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Anytime, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. See you guys.
All right. Great interview and interesting story. So you said RJ didn't remember him, but yet RJ was in his car, or he was in RJ's car?
Like, man, God knows what goes through RJ's mind. Okay.
We have to get
At
RJ
least,
back
at
on the
least I
show.
have a good reason, right? I'm getting old. I admit I'm senile. I forget stuff. I can't remember things that I did last week. RJ has no excuse. The guy's young. He's healthy. He has no reason to be forgetting stuff like that.
All right, we'll get RJ back on the show.
We'll get RJ back on the show. Next week, I believe we have a guest, but I'll confirm with him next week as we get closer to next week, that is. So until then, we'll see you guys then.
All right, see you.